welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
Listening to the 10th most popular podcast for people who understand that there are only two types of rugby union and rugby union sevens.
So listeners, welcome to Swift Half. I am obviously not Alan. Alan is currently in a Turkish prison, but don't worry, I have sent some bail money and we hope to get him out by this time next week. Here's hoping. If not, well, we'll figure out something, just like we figured out something this week. This week, I am joined by a fantastic guest who is going to be our landlady for the evening. So, Megan Tranter, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I don't know about landlady though, because I haven't got a personal license, but yeah, we'll roll with it.
We'll go with landlady. I'm not completely convinced Alan does either. Don't tell anyone, but I'm not convinced he's got a license. Please don't dob him in because I've been drinking at his establishment now for about 3 years, so I could get in trouble too. So
okay,
let's not go down that. We will. But I will ask you, what are you drinking tonight, Megan?
Do you know what? I am really boring right now. I've just got some water.
You know what? You're so professional. The usual landlord, he's drinking on the job. It's ridiculous. So thank you, Megan.
That's something I can get behind.
And the listeners do too. I'm not drinking alcohol either, listener, but I do have a meal deal drink for you. Courtesy of Tesco, we are going with the Fanta Watermelon today, which is... Yeah, I never seen this one before. It's the Tesco in Haydock. It seems to have a rotation of random drinks that you don't see anywhere else. I'm not convinced it's a real Tesco.
It's like a secret corner shop.
It may be. I'll have to double check. Maybe it's Tesco.
Yeah, maybe it is. They always have the best drinks.
They really do. Those random corner shops, it's amazing what you can find in them, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah, it's great.
Any ideas of recent ones? Corner shop near you, what have you had in? Mine has just got in Swedish fish again.
Swedish fish, what are they? Are they...
You've never heard of Swedish fish?
No.
Oh gosh, Will Chung, who'll be listening to this, is probably just screamed out "what" at that exact moment.
I'm sorry, Will.
Swedish fish are American candy, and they're quite hard to describe. They're chewy yet still hard. It's kind of weird.
Okay. I'm gonna have to hunt Will down and try some.
Just try and hunt Swedish fish down. No one needs to catch Will. No one needs to catch Will. But any weird and wonderful things from your shop recently?
No, I think I did see a weird flavour of Fanta the other day, but it wasn't a watermelon one. I really like watermelon flavoured stuff, but I don't actually like watermelon. How weird is that?
You know what? Me too. You know
No
what?
way.
Seriously, you know in Tesco how you can get them little pouches of pineapple, watermelon, and regular melon, and they're usually like 3 for 120 or something. So they're great little snacks. I never buy the watermelon. It just tastes of nothing.
It's rubbish.
It really, really is. They overdo the water when it comes to watermelon.
Yeah, agreed.
But I do like watermelon sweets. You know them fizzy ones?
Yeah. Yeah, I like watermelon flavoured stuff, but yeah, actual watermelon is no.
No, not at all. Right, I can't really segue from watermelon to our next topic, so we're just going to go with it. A few weeks ago, me and Alan were talking about this mysterious tale of this Chinese half marathon runner who, right at the end, beat 3 accomplished runners from Africa who kind of like all slowed down and let him overtake them all. No, they came out and said they were pacers. They just happened to enter the race like everyone else and have numbers on their shirts. But yeah, allegedly they were pacers. Megan, has there been an update on this?
It's so wild, isn't it? Like, Why have they entered a race if they're pacers? Why have they got numbers on if they're a pacer? It's so strange. But yeah, you sent me this article earlier all about this because it is just wild, isn't it? It's so crazy.
Absolutely is. And again, listener, initially what happened was there was condemnation of this, and then afterwards, I thought the organizers had said, oh, they were actually pacers. Yeah, just the way it went. But since that, the organizers changed the tune, haven't they?
Yeah, and they've put out an apology about it and everything. It's like it's really got way more attention than I think anyone was expecting. It is just crazy though. I don't actually understand why you would do that. So the Pacers that weren't Pacers but were Pacers have come out and said that they were Pacers, which is quite confusing in itself. And it's just sparked such a massive backlash and just like apologies from basically the whole of China. Crazy.
Basically, the whole of China has come out and said, right, we're disqualifying these three pacers, runners, whatever you want to call them. We're disqualifying the Chinese half marathoner who actually won. They've asked him to return the prize money, but even worse, Megan, they want the medals back.
Oh my goodness, not the medals. And also, he didn't even beat the record that he set out to beat that's caused this whole drama anyway. I think that is the most disappointing thing.
Really is. He actually missed it by like a minute, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, missing the record by a little over a minute, apparently. Tragic.
And that's what makes the whole thing even funnier, because why would the Pacers then care? They've tried their best to get him up to pace. Plus, they're off pace. If they were trying to get him to get this record, they're below pace.
Yeah, they've really not done their job very well.
No, no, I think what actually happened is they wanted the local hero to win, and it blew up spectacularly in their face thanks to social media, as things
You
often
think
do.
that's what your theory is?
That's my theory. They were in a race at the last minute. They thought, oh, let's let him win, and yeah, it blew up spectacularly.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit wild. It's crazy.
It is. And Megan, I'm not sure if you listened to the episode last week. I know you've been really, really busy getting ready for Born Survivor, which we're going to touch on later on. But did you happen to listen last week at all?
No, I haven't listened to the last week's episode yet. I have
Don't
not.
worry. Don't worry, I'll bring you bang up to date, but it is about Pacers because last week, me and Alan were curious because a woman's only record was set in the London Marathon.
Yes, very cool.
It was very cool, but me and Alan couldn't for the life of us work out what women's only meant. Megan, do you know?
This is because she was paced by women, not by men, right?
Exactly, yes. And thank you to everyone who pointed out mine and Alan's ignorance. So apologies all round, but yeah, it was just fascinating, and it's super cool because presumably in when they're being paced by men, it then becomes a mixed race.
But this is something that it just confuses me. Like, obviously, my whole podcast is about women in sport. It's all about championing the women. But I just think this is quite an odd record to have. Like, I think the record should just be held by the person who accomplished it. And yes, you might not have accomplished it without the paces, but does the gender of the paces matter in a record term? I'm not sure.
I will put the counter argument.
Uh-huh.
So the counter would be the reason it's important is a race that's paced by women alone. The women athletes who are pacing can't go all the way to the finish line because, in theory, they should be slower than the woman they're pacing.
Yeah, and they
Whereas,
can't break the record, right? That would be
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, well, if they could, they wouldn't be pacing, they'd be running the record.
Yeah.
Whereas men, in theory at least, should be able to, if you pick, I know Kipchoge doesn't pace, but if you pick Kipchoge, he could easily pace out the women's record and take you all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the reason why you have this women's only record, because the last part of the race, you're completely alone.
Yeah, I honestly I hadn't heard about it until the London Marathon that it was even a thing. Because I'm not like a road. I've not even been running that long, so I still have a lot to learn. A lot.
Obstacle racing has a lot to answer for. It's got you running and everything.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Speaking of the London Marathon, did you hear how many people have applied?
So many, so many people have applied. It it absolutely blows my mind. The number is close to like 800,000, right? 840,000 apparently. Crazy.
840,000 people. I don't know off the top of my head how many people live in the UK, but it can't be much more than 84 million. And that means 1% of the population.
I am no good at maths. Do not ask me a maths question.
But yeah, again, you know what? I'm going to Google it. I'm curious as to how many people live in the UK.
Because that is a lot of people that just want to run on some tarmac.
Absolutely is. But it is special tarmac.
Yeah, you get to take
What
in the sights.
you do get, well, part of a race you do. I presume you've never done the London Marathon.
No, I haven't done it, but I used to live in Greenwich, so I would go and watch it. I would go to the Weatherspoons and have a breakfast and a pint and watch everyone run. But yeah, the Docklands used to be my haunt, so yeah.
Any idea why they run the Dockland? I'm sure it's lovely when you're living there, but I found that stretch miserable. I'm sorry, I really did.
I don't know why. I guess it's because they start it in Blackheath, which is like out of the way. And to get to Central, you've got to sort of go that way.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be much of a marathon if you just turn left after Tower Bridge. You'd be home in probably another 5K, wouldn't you?
So, yeah, I guess there's not really a lot to see in the Docklands. There's not a lot.
Did run a bit faster for unknown reasons.
What?
I just ran a bit faster for some reason, heading around Docklands. I don't know what it was. It might have been the brew dogs, which were nearby. It was like the mothership calling me. That might have been the issue. Right, I've worked it out. There's actually, as of 2022, there was 69.997 million people living in the UK.
Okay.
So 1.25% of the UK population, if these are all numbers from the UK, applied to be in the London Marathon.
That's crazy.
So if you're in a room with 100 people, one of them has applied to be in the London Marathon next year.
Whoa, that is crazy. You always see it like the day after the marathon and the day of the marathon or whatever, that sort of time. Everyone's Instagram story is like, wait, may as well try. It's like, wow,
So did you apply this year?
absolutely not.
Right. And I was meant to apply, and I then came to Saturday because in my head, you've got a week. So the marathon
Yeah.
was on the Sunday,
Yeah.
thinking, right, okay, last day to apply would be Saturday. I would just literally not deliberately leave it to the last minute, but speak to James Burton. I do that a lot, but I was busy. So come Saturday, had time, pulled up, getting ready to apply. Big sign on the website. Application has now closed. It closed 9 p.m. on Friday night.
What? Why?
I don't know. They
Maybe
obviously closed
way
it.
too many.
Maybe they did, but just think, had they let me, they would have had 840,000 or whatever it was and won.
And one.
Yeah, they could have brought their own record.
Try again next year.
Absolutely. Let's try again next year. Speaking of records, though, can we talk a bit about America and the Spartan Tri-State, which was quite recently? Matt B. Davis reported on this. I know you looked into this, didn't you, Megan?
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm pretty happy about this figure as well. So Matt posted about biggest numbers since the pandemic. So in 2016, there were 7,300 participants. I'm not going to do the 43s and whatever. We'll round it up. And then In 2019, it dropped to under 7,000. 2021, they're only 4,800. 2022, 4,400. 2023, bit of an uplift, crept up to 5,600. But 2024, this year, 7,800. So it's the most since he's put on there, and he went up to 2016. That's crazy good.
It really is amazing. And I want your opinion on something. Do you think this could be, as Spartan has kind of dropped off at the competitive level, there is still competitive, it seems to have been drawing out lots of open runners.
Yeah, so the way that Spartan are doing the competitive thing at the moment, when they first announced it, sat really well with me. I loved it because they announced that everyone who wanted to run competitive, everyone was running together, right? So there was no pro age group split. Everyone was together. I thought that was amazing, specifically for getting more women into the competitive field and into the elite field, because you always see it time and time again. You see people posting amazing age group times that then won't step up and race elite. And it's actually quite a shame because, one, they should be racing people that are their caliber, right? They should be pushing themselves and just be in that leaderboard with them. I think it's cool. And two, I think age group should have been for like more progression, for development, right? For people who want to be competitive, but they're not at that level yet. So I didn't like the split when it was like that. So when they announced that it was the whole full leaderboard, I was like, cool, this stops all of that. That's epic. But now they've sort of gone back on it again, and changed it for the national series races and for like the European Championships and for the World Championships, where you have to either race pro or age group. And if you race pro, you're eligible to compete for the prize pots. But if you haven't got a pro band, you can't race pro. But this wasn't mentioned until the end of last season. So to get a pro band, you had to come top 15 in any elite race last year. And obviously last year, elite was not gated, so anyone could enter. And in theory, especially again, going back to the women's field, anyone in the UK pretty much could have gone and run a women's elite wave and come top 15 because there's not 15 women. So anyone could have earned a pro band. But this year, if you stuck to the rules and you decided to race age group last year and actually listen to what it said in the rule book about how they don't like it when you differentiate between them and it's unsportsmanlike. So people like Ricky Carino and myself, who probably could have ran an elite race and come top 15, but we didn't. We did the age group series, didn't go and do that. So now this year, if we want to go and earn our pro band to race against the pros, the people we were going to do this year when we wanted to step up to elite, we can't do that because to earn one this year, you have to come top 3 overall at a race.
So top 3 in the elite or top 3 in the age group?
In the competitive category. So you can't earn it in a series race either because that's when it's split. So you have to do a non-series race and try and beat everyone.
And help me out a little bit because at times when it comes to...
It's crazy.
Yeah, Spartan math is crazy. And I'm not a big Spartan person, as people who listen to this know. So you're going to have to hold my hand a little bit here.
Yeah.
My understanding is there isn't actually that many races in the UK. When you take out the series races, there's 3 of them, how many competitive races are you left with?
Well, not very many, because obviously this Henley one that's coming up, super exciting in a few weeks. The first race of the Spartan calendar in the UK is the first series race. It's the Beast on the Saturday. So it's split. So can't earn a band before then. The Sunday, there's only a competitive wave for the super. There's not one for the sprint. So that's out of 3 races, you've only got 1 opportunity already.
And if that pattern's repeated, that means only another 3 races overall because there's only 4 events, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know if all 4 weekends are doing trifectas.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Again, I'm sure people who listen to the show who are more into Spartan can let us know on that. But yeah, it seems silly because it's for a roll down as well. So yeah, no roll
So
down.
it is silly, and I have approached it with Spartan UK, who are being really helpful actually, and they are looking into it and they've taken it to the relevant teams because I was like, there is no route for progression. Like how are you want to make Spartan this amazing competitive spectacle, which I think is really cool, but then you're gonna have no one doing it. You're not gonna get new blood through the door, so how are you planning on doing that? And basically, I don't really think they thought about it. But Spartan UK are being really helpful and they're looking into it and pushing it forward.
No, absolutely. Again, I kind of liked them moving to a what I call a savage race style, which was, the first three of the first three. Fourth place is top of their age group.
Yeah, yeah.
Fifth
It makes
place
sense,
is
right?
yeah. I like that. Heck, even the way that High Rocks do it, they don't do it quite like that. The way High Rocks do it, whereby it's all age group, except they'll occasionally run elite races which are non-aged, and you've got qualification to get into those.
Yeah.
I quite like that as well because it gives people that progression, and you've got the open, you've got pro races, and let's be honest, they're just names. They're just two different styles of racing. It might as well be
Yeah.
called a sprint and a super. Yeah, it's just very similar. Yeah, the distance is the same, the
Yeah.
weights are different.
Different.
So,
Yeah.
but I do like how they have done it like that. And I did really love what Spartan were doing. And that will teach me to never praise Spartan again. If I slag them off, they keep doing it. So, Spartan, if you're listening, this idea of a gatey thing, best idea ever. Never change it. Absolutely. Keep all the morning people out. No roll downs at all. That way, the top three fastest women can just earn their pro cards, and then that's your elite way for next year.
That's
Easy
it.
to. Yeah, we can cover the entire series on free iPhones. Great idea, Spartan. Let's do it. There
Just
we
make
go.
filming the race very easy. Yeah, correct.
See, there we go. That should do it. But yeah, they really need to sort that out. But getting back to the other thing, it
Yeah.
does sound, particularly in America, they may have cracked this idea of appealing to the open racer, which we have been saying for years is what they need to aim for.
Yeah, of course they do. They need to definitely get more open races in it because I think most people's pathway is they have done a race and then they've learned about the competitiveness of it afterwards. Um, so yeah, the more open races you get, the more people are in the field, the more people become interested in competitive racing, not maybe to do it themselves, but to watch it. Yeah,
And the other good thing about open racers, and not everything's about money, but this is very much about money, is your open racers tend to be the people from the office who get a big bunch of friends to go and do it. And what usually happens, you start with 10 of you, and then a year later, only one of you comes back. It's the way it goes. You work in an office too, Megan. I know you can probably relate to that.
yeah.
But but the great thing about them, they pay full price because they just presume that's what it costs.
Yeah, and it's obviously how Spartan makes money, and they need to make money. So we need more open races. But yeah, this uplift, just I would like to see deeper numbers across different races, right? Because this one is unreal. That's a massive jump. That's huge.
It is, and our good friend Ricky Fit also commented on the post and said that the race near him was similar because people were commenting, saying a few things like, "Oh, well, New Jersey is a destination." Well, Ricky Fit said, "Well, Palm Beaches was packed too, and that's not a destination event. It would be for me and you, but for the locals, Palm Beach is Palm Beach."
Fine. Yeah. I mean, I did track the numbers for Spartan UK last year, so I'll do it again this year, and hopefully it's just as healthy as it is in the US. That would be great.
It would be great just to see that uplift. And typically, the internet does what the internet does. All the standard OCR people are on the saying, "Oh, well, it's because all the other races are dying," or this and that. But at the end of the day, the numbers are up. And as harsh as this sounds, I'd rather go to one race with 7,000 people there than there be 100 races with 70 people, because I know the 7,000 are more likely to come back having been there with 6,999 people, as opposed to looking round and feeling, oh, this is a bit lonely.
Yeah, and it feels better, it looks better when there's more people involved in like a mass event like that. Everything is just better, right? It's just way more fun, especially when you're not doing OCR competitively. You help each other over the obstacles. It's just way more fun.
It is, and at the moment, High Rocks is the golden child because it has very similar. The fact that you do laps was probably a stroke of genius because it means it all looks full. Yes, I know people complain about congestion, but it does feel nice to be running with so many people without knowing who's winning. That's a good thing as well. Not knowing who's winning is really good. But talking about winning, can we talk about Born Survivor? I'm not going to go too in the weeds with it because those pesky Who's Hot people have got a kind of exclusivity. So they'll do the full roundup and results. So look out for that, listener. But Megan, I want to know about your experience at Born Survivor. Firstly, have you ever done Born Survivor before?
No, I've never done Born Survivor before, and it was really fun, but it was really cold.
I'm all right in thinking it was this one in Cheshire.
Yeah.
Yeah, sun doesn't go to Cheshire.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was going to be warmer than it was, so I did wear neoprene and I was really thankful for it, honestly. I get really cold really fast. So I was really happy that I made that decision because that was an error I made at Nuclear last year when it was uncharacteristically cold for that weekend in May. And I only put the base layer on and normal shorts. And as I was going around, I was like, this was the worst choice. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. So Born Survivor, sorted myself out, layered up. I was ready to go, but I still got really cold. But I do really like races that have like loads of water and stuff. And it was really cool because it's obviously it's very military sort of agility course, really, right? It's not your like what how do I want to say this? It's not like a technical OCR like Tartan was, like Euros is, stuff like that. It's completely different. It's more of a like hardcore mud run. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
So similar to what I'd call a traditional UK OCR, because it's always been a case in America you lift heavy stuff. In Scandinavia, you swing from rigs like you're a monkey. And in the UK, we've almost had this pride in our mud is better than anyone else's mud.
True.
And you, we'll give you a few monkey bars. That'll settle you for being technical, but we'll throw you through water. We'll throw you through mud.
Yeah, you got to get over walls, you got to crawl. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was an enjoyable course. It's probably harder than I was expecting actually. Like the first running section up the hills, I found that fine. But it was then when you went off into the hills and it must have been a field where loads of cows had been over the winter because the ground was just like holes everywhere. It was so hard.
Oh, did you have babies' heads?
What?
Have you never heard that expression before?
No.
When you're running through a field and there's just lumps in it, and it's almost like someone's buried babies, it's babies' heads.
Whoa, no, I've never heard that before.
Well, technically, it's not called baby's head, it's baby's yeds. You know,
Okay.
because no, if you use the yed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But oh gosh, I hate running on those things because it takes it out on your ankles.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, and I've got shin splints going on in my right leg now, so I just stopped running on those bits. I was like, no.
What shoes were you wearing? Alan will kill me if I don't ask.
I was wearing my Scott RC2s.
Oh, Scott, we don't hear a lot about Scott. We know they've got some great shoes because Michelle Castro, a friend of the show, works for them, and I saw her trying some out at World's Toughest Mudder. But how are you finding the Scots?
I love my Scots. They were the first trail shoe that I bought, the Scott RCs. I feel like there's another something. Super Track, Scott Super Track RCs. They were the first trail shoes that I bought, and I love them. They're so good in the mud. They have like a circular pattern on the bottom, like a radial tread around your like the ball of your foot, which is quite cool. And the lugs are quite good on them. I really like them. I run most of my OCR races in Scots.
Wow. I like the circular pattern. I presume that's to allow quick release of the mud because it's just
Yeah, well,
slightly different.
I think they're a sky running shoe, really. So they're really good on different terrains. I really like them. I even wore them for Abu Dhabi Spartan in the desert. The only one I swapped this year was when I did Alula Tough Mudder. I swapped to Hokas. I swapped to Speed Goats. But otherwise, run everything in my Scots. Love them.
Oh, well, there's a glowing recommendation, listener. If you're looking for a shoe that's not an innovate, so it won't shrink on your foot, or is a little bit more pricey than a more miles, have a look at Scott's.
Yeah, they're good. The What's that? Sports shoes had them in their sale the other week for like 50 quid. So good. Bargain.
Check on sports shoes, and Alan, who's editing this right now, is probably already on there. So, listener, hopefully you won't have the same shoe size as Alan. And to be fair, I don't think anyone does this side of the beanstalk. But go and have a look and see if you can get yourself a pair of Scots. So, the race itself, was there any standout moments for you?
What was the ramp? The ramp at the end. Oh, the ramp. I'm normally really good at them, but this one I was not very good at. It was straight after you come out of like a slide, you go through a tube straight into water, then you have to do another dunk, and then the only thing separating you from the finish line was a ramp, and it took me 4 or 5 attempts to get up it. But yeah, that was hardcore. But the rest of it was really fun. And I really liked there was like a slide that had a big drop. So you just go off the edge of it. That was great. So good.
Slide with a big edge. So what? You slid and you just fell.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
You know,
like a drop. So you slide and then the slide stops and there's still air and then you hit the water.
gosh, you know what? I've never done a Born Survivor, even though I just live up the road.
I was
It's
gonna say, you're not far from it. Where were you?
you know what? I actually had a duvet weekend. I don't think I moved much. You know what I did do? I sorted out the garden. It was the
Nice.
first time we had a little bit of sunshine by northern standards. So it was dry enough so I could sort out the garden. So that's what I did. But people I've talked to absolutely loved it. And I need to tell you about a listener of the show called Lucy Hodgkinson.
Okay.
Now, you may or may not know Lucy. You might have known her from High Rock Circles. You may have seen her. She's got a couple of Deca podiums, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
But she posted on her stories that she'd done Born Survivor. So I asked her how it went, and I didn't realize this at the time. It was her first ever OCR.
Ah, amazing.
She had never done OCR before. She'd done her fitness, she'd obviously done High Rocks. And because of this show, she went and did it, and she went and did Elite Race.
Amazing. Did she love it?
She absolutely did. She didn't like the 10-foot walls. She was
They're
struggling with
hard.
them.
They're hard.
For a newbie, they're tough.
They are.
But she completed everything and got round. She's not checked the results yet, and I'm too bad with research to have checked the results for her. But yeah, she got round, and she's going to do another OCR in the future.
Yes. Excited about that. Love that. Things we love
Yeah,
to hear. More women coming into OCR. Love that.
exactly. And you know what? I'll need to connect you up with Lucy so you can act maybe as her OCR sponsor. Should we do it almost like I'll call it anonymous, but it's the other way. It's OCR unanonymous.
Yeah.
And you can, because I think she's in the Midlands. I need to double check. But
Oh,
yeah, so
amazing. Even better.
yeah. So I'll need to hook you guys up because she is really good at high rocks. She's not quite elite, but she's getting up there. And I think she'd be great for the sport.
Amazing. Yeah, send them my way.
Absolutely, we'll do. So we had people like you, experienced people doing Born Survivor, people like Lucy. We had people like Will doing Born Survivor, but he can talk about that on Who's Hot.
Yeah.
Anything else about Born Survivor before we leave it?
Do you know what? I think we should shout out Shelley and Sam. Do you know about Shelley and Sam doing their 4 marathons in 4 weeks?
Oh, I'd heard about that. Could you tell us more, though? Tell the listener more.
Yeah. So Shelley Tompkins and her partner Sam McLeish, I think his surname is. Shelley's a Rumble OCR athlete. She loves the endurance races, and her and her partner Sam have ran 4 marathons in 4 weeks. Raising money for I want to say shelter. I'm not sure what it is. Everyone's been fundraising. I don't know who's fundraising for who, but anyway, they're raising money for charity and they've absolutely smashed it. So they've done Manchester, they did London, and one of them did, or maybe both of them did Brighton, and one of them ran one at home. And then Born Survivor was their last one. They did obstacle marathon to finish. What the hell?
Exactly. Just why? You know, you're
Why?
amazing athletes, and I guess well done. But oh my gosh,
It was crazy. So I'm so impressed with them. It's phenomenal. 4 marathons in 4 weeks and to finish on an OCR marathon. Insane. And they dressed up as well. Like the first outfit was totally like Barbie movie inspired. I really vibed with it. It was great. Solid effort.
I can't believe I missed the opportunity to see Sam dressed up as Barbie.
It was all like pink and stuff. It was great.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm sure Shelley looked to find Barbie as well.
Yeah, Shelley always looks great.
While we're giving shout outs, actually, I almost forgot. I'm glad you talked about Shelley. Let's give a shout out to Matt Rigby as well, who, as you know, has recovering from a serious injury. As he calls it, he's got fat leg because he had an injury to his legs, so his legs are now slightly different sizes. He did 4 laps and came second in the Born Survivor marathon.
That is hardcore.
That is, it's unbelievable. I'm just looking at his elevation gain, 1,251 meters, not feet, meters.
Yeah, I guess over a normal marathon, that's a lot.
That is a lot of climbing. So absolutely well done to Matt, and thank you, Matt, for putting up the picture of your Swift Half mug next to your medal as your little Instagram. So, listener,
Aw,
tell you what, let's see if this works. Listener, on this, go to at Mr. PT Experience on Instagram. Let's all like Matt's post. It's currently only got 12 because the Instagram algorithm is a pain in the neck at the best of times. Let's see if we can get him up there. So everyone go and just like that picture.
amazing. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Right, so we covered that. Let's give a quick announcement. We don't really need to talk about this, but the Body Hub Summer Beast has been announced. So this is at Body Hub Gym, 31st of August, 2024. Head down there, go and have fun on the Beast course. People absolutely love this time trial situation. Well, actually, we'll talk a little bit about it. Have you done Body Hub Beast yet, Megan?
I haven't been down there, but everyone who did the most recent one loved it. Like so many people said how great of a course it was. So if I can, I will definitely be hitting that up.
It does look like fun. Unfortunately,
Does look fun.
August is always a bad time of year. Do you know how people tend to have birthdays around about the same time in your family?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the last weekend of August is like, well, it's my sister's, it's my dad's was earlier on, and then in September it's ridiculous. So I can never really do anything the end of August. It's the way it goes. But if you're free, make sure you go and check that out. Let's talk about another OCR. We talked about Born Survivor. Let's talk about the the Norman B Hall Adventure Race, which, Megan, I know you didn't know a lot about this race, and by that name, neither did I. but it's more commonly known as curlies.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until you mentioned it earlier.
It's a fun race. So Michelle Carney was there, and Michelle was there with B Woods, who I think you've met, of course. Her partner Donna was there for her first OCR. I love hearing about that. But
Amazing.
we also had Zoe Holver, Anna Davis Ray, Scott Talk, and his son Danny Talk. So well done to all of them. It's a great race, and it's one of them smaller, family-friendly races that we need more of.
Yeah.
These are the ones which I know I joked earlier about. I'd rather have one race with 7,000 rather than 100 races with 70. There can be a mix. There can absolutely be a mix. And races with, I don't know how many people did this, a couple hundred. These are also the lifeblood of OCR.
Yeah, different races for different things, right?
Exactly. It's a 10K, it's a horse cross country course.
Okay.
So mainly wooden jumps to climb over and a 3 foot deep water crossing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's actually chip timed as well. So if you want to run for time too, you can.
Do you know what was actually talking about chip timing? The Born Survivor chips were crazy. I'd never seen it before. You might have seen it before, but it was just a normal wristband that literally had like a SIM card pattern on it, and that was it. It was like just, like a paper wristband that you just put on. It was literally that with like a little metal squirrel, and that was it. That was your chip timer. I
Oh
was blown
wow.
away by it. I was like, whoa.
Wow, because that would be completely waterproof too, wouldn't it?
You'd think so, yeah. So it's and
Wow.
like there's way less opportunity for you to lose it, like the ones that you have to put on your shoes or the ones you have to put around your ankles. This was literally just like a paper wristband that you get for like bag drop at Spartan, but it had like the little metal pattern on it. It was great.
Oh,
I was like, whoa, this is my chip.
I've never seen that before. So well done to Born Survivor for innovating. And
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
I do like ship timing in a race, to be fair. I know some people can love it or hate it, but at the end of the day, even if I get a poor time, I like it because it's a record that I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's useful when you're getting on in your years, like Alan is, to be able to go back and find out which races he did. Because, yeah, did you hear he did a wolf run once? He may have won it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That one.
But that wasn't ship time, so I'm not sure it counts. But I will say, we mentioned about Michelle Carney and this race. B was the first ever athlete to take on that race in a wheelchair, and they got all the way around.
Oh yeah, love that.
Again, another first by a woman athlete in sport.
Yeah, amazing.
So, listener, look up the curlies, look up that race, and take part if you can. Speaking about firsts by female athletes in sport, did you see this Florida mother who ran a 5:11 mile?
Yes. So I read this article and it's pretty crazy, right? 5'11" whilst pushing a buggy with a child in it.
And this wasn't a baby, was it? It was quite a old child. I want to say 11 months.
And it might have even been older than that. I'm gonna have to have a look because I thought that I was like, wow, that's crazy. That is so crazy. I shouldn't have
All I'll
struck.
say is I hope she never comes to my park run.
And yeah, after all, her baby was now 20 months old. So it's older than one. Why? Right. When do we stop saying months? This is what I don't get. Like people always say, like, oh, my child's 18 months old. They're a year and a half. Why are we talking in months? You have to make me do the maths in my head.
That's so true. I am curious. If anyone is curious, I am currently 488 months old. If anyone's curious, that is how old I am, which actually sounds a lot younger. So I might do that now, Megan. You've inspired me. When people ask me my age, I'm gonna start telling them it in months.
I need to work mine out now. I've got to get a calculator out for mine because I'm terrible at maths. How old am I?
But while you're doing that, yeah, I will just fill in some of these gaps. I think it was on a track which doesn't make it any less impressive. It's still unbelievable. A 5:11 mile without a laden buggy is just
Fast.
unbelievable.
It's fast, fast. But then did you read about how the woman who held it before did it in Colorado at altitude? So she was like, if that woman came down and did it, she would smash me.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because Colorado is mile high and you can barely breathe there.
Yeah, it was crazy. So she said if that woman whose record I taken came down and did it, she would, yeah, have change.
I love humble athletes like this, though. You've got the world record.
It's
You've
so
done it,
cool.
and it's still, oh, someone else could beat me.
Yeah, the previous record was 5:24, and this woman who's beaten it did it in 5:11.
And we should point out that looking at the buggy, yeah, it might have been specially adapted slightly, but it was no different to a buggy you'd see on the street. This wasn't a streamlined thing. They didn't have the kid almost on a bobsleigh. This was a proper buggy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just unbelievable. Have you worked out how many months you are, by the way?
I've done the years, I need to do the months. I've done the main bit.
done the main bit.
Done the main bit, and I'm up to 348, so add 8. 356 months I am.
356 months old. So I'm a few months older than you. Not many, but a few months older. Oh, if I remember, I'm doing this next week. I am asking Alan how many months old he is.
Yes, please.
Oh gosh. Right. Speaking of women athletes, did you see this about the benefits of weightlifting? How women pro runners, it really helps them if they don't just do endurance, you also do lifting as well.
Yeah, so I think this is a topic that's coming up more and more at the moment. Everyone is sort of like talking about what they're doing for strength training to also aid their running. And it's really beneficial. And I lift purely for running an OCR. I have typically 2 lifting sessions a week, and one of them is literally called running strength. And it's, yeah, all of those sort of movements like deadlifts, bridges. I mean, they talk about it a lot in the article that you shared. It's pretty cool that everyone sort of does the same sort of stuff. It's cool. It's not rocket science, but it obviously is very helpful.
It's nice affirmation, isn't it? It
Yeah.
really is. And we say this a lot, and it probably doesn't just apply to women, but the article was written because there's this book out about the dirty secret is, and that it's quite funny. I don't have the article in front of me because, again, my preparation is terrible, but I think the book's called something like How to Cheat, and the cheat is actually to do some strength training.
Yeah, I think that's what it was originally based on, right? This book that everyone has taken their tips from. It just makes sense though, right? The stronger your legs are, the stronger a runner you can be.
No, exactly. To get better at running, you have to increase your strength to power to weight ratio. That's how it does. And a lot of people do the power to weight ratio by just losing weight. If you lose weight, you will get faster. It's just the way it goes. However, if you lose weight unhealthily, eventually you'll plateau.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've sort of come the other way, is I needed to put weight on. It's crazy. But it's like it's taken me so long to actually start just putting weight and muscle on because I it's just really hard for me.
Muscle is quite hard to build. Someone was saying this, that it's a little bit easier to get your endurance up and a little bit safer as well, because yes, if you go and run a marathon tomorrow, having not prepared for it, you're going to do yourself an injury. But if you do it sensibly, or if you use apparatus in the gym, such as the bikes, anything like that, which takes the strain off your joints, it's very easy to build your engine in a safe environment. Strength training, it's hard because to build strength, you actually kind of have to injure yourself because you're tearing the fibers in your muscles and then they're stitching back together.
Yeah,
And
that always baffles me. It's crazy, isn't it?
it is crazy. And it's so easy to hurt yourself strength training.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the stuff about this article that you shared about women's strength training and stuff is different because there definitely has been such a shift over the past maybe 5 years where you just see so many more women in the gym lifting. Like,
You abs you
yeah,
really do. It used to be deemed not feminine, didn't it?
yeah. And I think when I was in uni, if I'd go to the gym, there really were not many, if any, sometimes women in the weights area. And
Yeah,
now there's always women in there.
yeah, and the thing is, they are lifting some hefty weights,
Yeah.
and you've always had women weightlifters or bodybuilders. They have always existed, but a lot of people who are lifting these big weights look like runners. They look like OCR athletes.
Yeah, and I think that's like just quite a common misconception that's been around for such a long time, right? That, oh, if you lift weights, you'll be bulky, like it will change your whole physique. And not necessarily. It takes a long time to build a physique like that.
It really, really does. And again, people tend to get in the head that if you do one squat, suddenly you're going to look like the female version of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Which is definitely not going to happen.
Well, and it does look from a health point of view, not aesthetics, but just health. Putting on a bit of muscle just looks a little bit healthier, and you probably feel a bit healthier.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good for your body overall, lifting is, and for your bones and stuff too.
Right. Exactly. So I'm sure we're preaching to the choir because I'm fairly sure everyone who's listening to this, with the exception of me and Alan, already do strength training. But it's an interesting book. It's now gone behind a paywall on my version of this article, so I can't even tell you the title. I'll find out the title. I'll let you know, listener, and it's definitely worth having a look at that because it's quite an interesting book.
Yeah, the
Let's see.
article itself is really interesting as well. There's so many different snippets from different athletes about what they do and why it's beneficial to them and their sport. And yeah, it's quite insightful.
You are right there about how it helps different sports. So even if you're not a runner, strength training can still help you.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about this coming weekend. I could be wrong, and I'll just double check this, but I'm not sure. I don't think any OCRs are on this weekend. Let me just double check that. But what is definitely on is High Rocks London Olympia. Are you going to be there, Megan?
I'm not doing any high rocks at the moment this year. Mm.
Going all in on Spartan, or do you just keep missing out on tickets?
It's really hard to get a ticket for high rocks now. So hard. But no, it's not in my plan at the moment. I like them for just they're really hard for me. Like I find it really difficult to move that way. When I first did it, I was like, wow, that's insane. And then you have people there that just push it like it's moving through butter, and I'm like, wow, this is like so not my wheelhouse. So I like it for just going and doing something that I thought was impossible, right? I think they're really hard and it does really put me in the pain cave. And I think there's a lot of value of coming out the other side of the pain cave, right? So that's what I like high rocks for. I don't think I'd ever do it really competitively, she says, with one flag. But yeah, the relay is definitely for me, is way more fun. More stressful, but more fun.
Yeah, the relay really is stressful. It's not an easy race at all because you're going all out for your 2K and two stations. It hurts.
It really hurts. Yeah, really hurts.
But as for the pushing it through butter, I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. And listen, I'll let you all in on a little secret. They actually have lighter sleds at High Rocks that are reserved. And to get one of them, you have to go up to Wayne Grumpy King and whisper in his ear, Badger. So if you're there at London Olympia, and it only works if Wayne Grumpy King's on there, but whisper in his ear Badger, and he'll direct you to the light sled that they keep as a practice sled.
Amazing. Got to try that myself.
Absolutely, you do. And oh, speaking of cheat codes, I believe Mike Nolan is on the burpees. So if you go up to him and say Tough Mudder is better than Spartan, he'll let you skip 30 burpees.
Just like that.
Just like that. So go up to Mike Nolan, tell him Tough Mudder is better than Spartan, and it's an instant way to skip 30 burpees. Again, it only works if Mike Nolan's there.
But yeah, no, I am not going to be there. Are you going to be there?
I will. I am scheduled to do my first ever open race. Sorry, rephrase that. I'm scheduled to hopefully complete my first ever open race because long-term listeners know that the last time I did an open on my own, I didn't go well at all. So at let's see, I start at 1940, which is 20 to 8 on Sunday. So by about 11:30 p.m., I either have finished or I've got another DNF, or I'm
Crush it.
locking up. Oh, I'm still on course.
You got this. You got
I've
this.
got this. But what do you think about, by the way, how late the waves are going off? They've always been late, but that late on a Sunday just seems unbelievably late.
On a Sunday, it feels really weird, doesn't it? I know it's a bank holiday, but it still feels really weird. Like it's not normal.
No, it doesn't. So I'll probably need a duvet. There's a good chance by then burpees I'll be sleeping.
Quick nap.
Michelle Carney's got the photos. That's what I was doing last time I did a solo. I think burpees took about 30 minutes, give or take.
Oh no.
Oh God. But yeah, I'll be there. If you happen to be there over the weekend, come up and say hi if you want to. That's not an obligation. It's literally if you want to come and say hi, feel free to, and we'll see you there. Have we got anything left on our notes? Oh, just got a couple of messages from James Burton, which are usually his sign of saying, nope, he's not sent me anything. But speaking of James Burton, I was on the British Obstacle website, and Brutal Challenges this weekend, which I think is just a mud run. It's not a OCR.
Cool.
We've also got Nuclear Wild Forest monthly time trials going on and Ninja Warrior UK Gloucester time trials. So if you're around any of them, go and do them. And then the weekend after, maybe 11th, is when it's a big weekend. We've already talked about that on this show. You know, we've got Nuclear Rush, we've got Spartan, we've got McTuff, we've got Nuclear Challenge Cup. It's a massive week.
Big.
Yeah, big weekend. A week this weekend. Just go check the notes. I don't think we've got anything else to chat about. We've done all right. I think we've wrapped it up in the usual time. Megan, before I let you go and go and collect your paycheck for being the landlady today, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything we haven't mentioned on the notes?
No, I don't think so. I mean, James has sent me the provisional Born Survivor results, but I'm sure the Who's Hot guys will be covering that. But we can just shout out the top three if you want because they smashed it. Women, this is provisional, it may change, but I think the top three is pretty solid. So Imi Hales won, machine. Karen McQuarrie came in second, and Josie Lloyd came in third. And then for the men, we had Daniel Titcombe in first place, Russell Walsh in second, and Morgan Maxwell in third.
Well done to all of you guys. We've given you flowers on this show. I'm sure then Pesky Who's Hot will also give you flowers. It's great to see some of those names and seeing someone like Morgan Maxwell, because he's only, what, 13, 14?
I don't think he's that young.
But he is one of the young blood, shall we say. I think he's a little bit older now, but yeah.
Yeah, if we're shouting out super young people, though, we got to shout out Finley. Finley Greenleaf came in fourth place in the men's field.
Fourth
and
place.
He is a team.
He is young, and this is what happens when you start a show on this network. He started pint-sized OCR, and before you knew it, he was getting almost podiums. Hasn't worked for me yet.
It's pretty cool there. So you've got 2 UKOCR series races down now.
We have. It's coming thick and fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
And This is the part of the show where Alan would usually remind me when the next series race is because I can never
Nuclear.
remember.
It's nuclear.
Nuclear is the next race. So make
On the
sure you
12th.
coming thick and fast. So I'm challenge core. I think they're also having a nuclear fit that weekend. So if you want to try a nuclear fit whilst you're there, I'm sure Sam would love to invite you to that as well. So, right, Megan, is there anything left for you?
No, I think we're all good.
Okay, I'll let you say goodbye.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for coming on. And given that your bar tab's a lot cheaper than Alan's, being on water, you're definitely going to come on again sometimes. Eventually, we'll have to pay Alan's bar tab off, but today's not that day. And listener, thank you all for joining in. Alan will be back next week. I'll be back next week, providing I haven't suffered a horrible demise in High Rocks London. So you might get Megan again if I suffered a horrible demise. It's absolutely a goodbye from me, and I'll speak to you all soon.